This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And I'm Carl.
And Carl, do you want to tell people about yourself a little bit? I know you did in the last episode, but it's good to keep talking about you every single episode.
Yeah. I'm great. No, I'm Carl Lucas. I'm an indie games reviewer. I review indie games all the time because I think they are very important to the industry. And I also have a show called Early Access Investigation, where I take a look at early access titles and how they present themselves and if they are a risk or not. I do talking head videos sometimes, and I have podcasts of my own called Indie Intermission. That's basically me. If any, and I also interview a lot of indie devs, and that's basically my unique selling point. I like to talk to them and ask about certain stuff, what decisions they made, and so on. So that's basically me. That's what I do.
Yeah, and he's going to be reviewing our indie game coming out later this year, the Silent Kriller. No.
I mean, if you make it,
yes.
Review it.
It's a side scroller. It's a little shrimp that jumps like.
He his the final boss is a whale. So.
Yeah.
I might roast it. I might roast that game.
Anyway, that's not the point of today's podcast. Today we're going to be talking about something very near and dear to Carl here. We're going to be talking about video game menus. You want to give us kind of a quick, I don't know if you're prepared for this, but I hope you are. A quick little history of the menus on video games.
Yeah. So basically, games didn't need a menu back then because they never stopped, right? Like they were usually mass-produced to sit somewhere in arcades, and you put a coin in them, and then you played it. And there shouldn't be no pause menu because there is no pausing in this thing. It's just like munch a coin, munch coin, coin muncher. That's where the term comes from. Yeah, it's like there is no stop. There is no stop to it. It's like just keep going. Why stop it? And later on, those arcade titles got ported to consoles or computers, and then people started to realize, oh wait, maybe I want to go to the bathroom sometime or do anything else than play the game. So then developers got this weird idea of, oh, maybe we should do pause menus. And with that, on a computer, a lot of things developed, like it shouldn't only be a pause menu. A pause menu should also provide the player with options like defining the size of the window they have, because when you have a big screen, maybe you want a smaller window, and with that, like slow
Roller Coaster
gradual...
Tycoon 2.
yeah, like
you can't resize that one.
And that's one of a big problem. And with time, it became standards to have like a launch application where you can define everything, your key bindings, your resolutions, and window mode. Then in the game itself, you have an extra options menu, and in the pause menu itself is again an options menu, because it's basically always the same system. You just have to add it to the whole thing, and that's basically it. Small gradual changes led to what we are right now. And since I look at menus and a lot of indie game menus, they sometimes forget to even put an exit button somewhere. So and that's not good.
Yeah, when you got to do control escape to exit a game, that means somebody didn't do their job.
Yes. There's one dev that I know. They're called BMC. They did a game called Accumulator.
What is it called?
Accumulator. Yeah, and then Accumulator. By
Is this
BMC
it?
Studio.
Fight for Your Destiny on Steam?
Exactly.
Oh, jeez. What is this? What is this?
Yeah.
Oh
so I covered all of their games, right? Until I think the last two.
Oh my God.
I made like a big collection of their games.
Oh,
and he refuses to put an exit button because it says, "Oh, I never use an exit button." But like, it's not about how if you use it or not.
It's an advertisement.
Standard.
Oh, great. That was awesome.
It's like those things are standards. You should, if you like it or not, it should be in there. Like the typical thing is like window mode, resolutions. It doesn't matter if your game is sprite based or not. You should always make the window smaller or bigger. And then individual sound options. That's the base, and that's the baseline. Like if there's voice acting, then for voice, music, and effects, and that's the baseline for every menu. If you do that, you're golden. And then of course the exit button. That's fine, and that's all you need. Everything beyond that is like extra stuff. It can make your product better. And menus in itself, like the pause menu, even the pause menu should look decent enough, because when a player is playing, even if you pause it, you're still looking at the game sometimes, and if it looks horrible, then you get like a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth. It's like, this isn't good. And for example, if you pause and the game continues playing in the background, that's a bug, for example. Like those things have to be fixed quickly and before shipping. Also, there's a lost art of menu music in the past.
Yes.
In the past.
Can I just jump in on this one?
Yeah, please go.
So, something that I noticed, all right, and I did not play Battletoads. Just to preface this, I did not play Battletoads when it first came out. Okay, but I have a friend of mine that I work with that he liked Battletoads when he was younger, so I bought him an NES cartridge for his 30th birthday of Battletoads. So we played it, and that was when I first noticed this. And after I noticed this, I saw an Angry Video Game Nerd episode that kind of delved into this a little more. But when you hit the pause on Battletoads, you know, you're thinking, okay, I can go make a phone call, I can do something in the room. But no, you hit pause on Battletoads, like as loud as possible, and it's like, what the heck is going on here? Because I just, like, if I was gonna make a phone call, it sounds like I'm in a nightclub from an 8-bit era or something.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, what? Like, why would this be here? Like, this is supposed to be the silent time where I can go do something, but nope. Battletoads is here to troll you on the pause menu.
But yeah, I never played it, but I hear it's like
the start menu for Battletoads is even more frustrating, because when you go to play it, okay, you can't select one player or two player, okay? You have to wait until the ship is dropping your toad, then the second player has to hit start right then, and that's the only way to get player 2 in.
I think that
if you miss that, it's like it's gotta. Well, yeah, it literally prevents you. If you don't know how to do that, if you don't have the original manual, you don't know that. It took us like 3 tries to figure it out.
But I think that might be like a technical problem. Like at the time they couldn't do it.
Maybe.
Everyone that doesn't do this today, like the technology exists for choosing 1 or 2 players. Like there are like Unity projects that probably have already covered it for free. So every game that doesn't do this today, I would consider the flaw.
Oh yeah.
Like, and the thing people have to understand, like the menu is like a small thing that people don't think about it. But it's like your YouTube banner or your profile picture. It's like, it's unconsequential. People are still gonna look at your videos, but it's like, it's your calling card. Like nobody's gonna look at my channel if I hadn't this cool looking art that it costs money. Like every time someone says, "Oh, you have a cool looking avatar," like, yeah, thanks. Someone actually made it. Like, or the CHRILLCAST that looks like a what do you call it? What do you call it thing?
Shrimp.
A shrimp. Like, oh, this looks interesting, you know. And the menu is the same thing. If the menu looks uninteresting, people might already get a bad impression from it. And even though it's like, oh, menu is not so important. No, it's important. It's really important for you.
Can I jump in real quick? I can
tell
tell
you
how frustrating. I can tell you how frustrating a bad menu is.
Oh boy.
Okay, so Fable 3. How it's all like the interactive menu and there's no scrolling and you actually like walk up to things.
Yeah, that's a bad choice.
Whoever did this didn't think about like how fast can you move? Like this is like
slow.
And it's like when gimmick enters, when you try to make something gimmicky and make something look cool, but the solution is already there. There is no way to innovate menus. You can only implement menus. Like implement menus very well, but do not try to innovate them because they're already at a stage where it's like
I gotta jump in here, okay? Look at this forum post. It says, "Why would they make it so the button you press to access your menu is the same button you press to return to the sanctuary? That's just baffling game design." And then the next comment, "That's because the sanctuary is your menu." Toodles.
Yes. Oh, it's awful.
I had totally forgotten about that. Like, I liked Fable 3 as a game, but I had totally forgotten about the sanctuary element of the pause menu.
Yeah.
That is a bad design.
I remember the first time I went to Sanctuary, I was like, what is this crap?
And then you got your DLC in there too. It's like you had to walk to get
so
DLC. It's like, why would you ever want DLC not right at somebody's fingertip?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want them to say, okay, it's one press away, I can have this. You don't want to have them walk around a circle in a sanctuary. Oh, look, there's some DLC. I'm just going to mosey on over here.
Yep. But speaking of the Fable series, a good menu that was in the series was the
Fable 2.
Well, Fable 2 is okay, but the Fable Anniversary one, how it's actually like it looks like you're in a book. I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, brutal. The game with Jack Black that also had like a book aesthetics to it, like not a disc aesthetics, a vinyl plate.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I looked at it.
It was just a cool touch because when you start the game up, it opens up. Yeah, it starts like that and opens up to the page that you're on. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I was mentioning not innovating. That's what I mean. It's iterating. Like this is not innovation. It's like it's already been done, but now it's being done just a little bit better. It looks a little bit cooler. The sanctuary thing, that's trying to innovate it, but even though there's no way to innovate the menu. It's like this is the formula. Use that, and then what you do with it, you can go wild with it.
You know what? One of the coolest menus I've ever seen in a video game. Look at this. Like, talk about style.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Persona menus are very stylistic. Yeah,
they're done really well too because they're concise. Yeah. You know what you're getting when you click on one of the menu items, and there's no fluff. There's no excess. There's no. It's just exactly what it needs to be. Yep. And it gives you it in the style. I mean, the style is distracting, but it doesn't distract you from what's in the menu. It is distracting, but it's not. Like it's pretty and stylistic.
Yeah, and the options are like at the front. Your sight might veer left or right, but the options are always at the thing you're looking at. Like everything is pointing at the options. Basically.
Yes, stylistically, your eyes are drawn to the menu, which is what you want. And it is literally a calling card in a game about calling cards. Because the calling card is how they attack their enemies.
I mean, you should use your menu should always be. You should treat it as your calling card. That is your calling card. That is the first thing the player is going to see. Then you better make it like the best thing you can make.
Totally agree. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Will, at the end of this? Is there any menus that were absolutely garbage that you want to talk about besides Fable 3?
I'm going to pull a Chris and say something that's sort of on topic, but not really.
Okay.
Something that I noticed is just gaming consoles in general, how their menus have changed.
Oh my god.
So how much game console menus are like very much integral to the game itself now. How like all your achievements pop up, like gamer pictures and things like that. I was playing my original Xbox just a couple days ago, and I couldn't figure out how to get back to like the main menu to change out the track, and I have to eject the game to do it.
Yep.
So I eject the game, and then I can go back and change like the pre-downloaded track that I have. Whereas now you just push a button and you go right to the menu. So it's just funny how different it is now, and how integral a menu that's not even part of the game is now part of the game menu.
Well, the Nintendo Switch, actually, in my opinion, has kind of a poorly designed home screen. It's like a never-ending scroll of games and apps you have based on what your most recent use was. So if you have something like way in the back that you've not used in like, let's say 6 months, and you have like hundreds of games, it's like, all right, time to scroll.
Well, it's Nintendo, so what do you expect? It seems that they don't have a UI team, so every UI decision they make is void of any reference, or maybe it is because they made a market test and the people that they tested liked it this way, which
maybe.
I don't believe that. I just think it's like they don't have a UI team. They don't care about it.
The other thing, the PS4. Have you ever tried playing? You don't own a PS4, right, Carl?
No.
Okay, so the PS4, if you ever, and this is like a super nitpicky thing because most people aren't doing this, but for me, I have a lot of Blu-rays for my kids' movies and stuff, and the menu to control the Blu-ray player is so convoluted and messy that I get calls like probably once every 2 weeks where my wife's like, "Hey, I have no idea how I got here in the menu. How do I get out?" It's like it should be simplistic enough that anybody picks up this controller can somehow get from point A to point B and run a Blu-ray. That is frustrating. They haven't changed it since the PS3. Probably the PS2 has something similar even. It's like you hit the options and then you can go into the full-blown controls menu, and then it's like this grid of like 32 options. And I'm like, this is totally unnecessary. Okay, give me something that takes me to the top menu of the DVD and then let me start the movie. I should be able to skip previews if I choose to do so. But nope. Sony's making it as complicated as possible.
Can I add something very off topic? Why are there pre-rolls on my Blu-ray that I bought with my money? And why can't I skip it?
Right.
I bought this. I didn't. If I ripped it, I wouldn't have that. But I bought this with my money, and you're forcing me to do something that otherwise I wouldn't have to do.
I think the pre-rolls should be easily skippable. You can have them, but make them skippable.
No, don't even put them there. It's like it should be an optional side content that I can choose to watch.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna force us to have the pre-rolls, at least make them skippable.
Exactly.
At the very least. Right? I can live with being able to skip them, but if I have to sit there and watch them, that's a problem. Or like
otherwise
have an option.
You're gonna rip your thing. You're gonna rip the thing.
or have like a box.
No, now
like
we're gonna do that.
After the first time you do a pre-roll, right? I should be able to skip them every other time after that with some option. Like it should remember to skip them every time. I don't mind seeing previews once. It's when I have to see them every time I boot up the original Cars movie, and my kid has to wait 5 minutes to watch Cars. That shouldn't be the case. It should just be like, okay, we're watching Cars. Boom, start the movie.
Yep. And when you then it's like, oh, you're basically forcing me to rip the thing so I don't have a pre-roll.
I'm not saying that, but
no, like it's like, oh, we're doing this against piracy. Like I already bought it. I'm not the target audience you're looking at.
Right. Anyway, so just to recap. Menus on video games are an integral part of the system you've developed. They're your calling card for your game, and they can easily allow the user to change things, pause, or even access something that they want to change. And with that being said, I think that indie devs and AAA developers, you're not out of the loop here, should focus on making good menus that allow the user to do exactly what they expect the user to be able to do, including exit.
Yep, I agree. 1000%.
Yep. So, as always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
I'm Carl.
And we will see you
on next CHRILLCAST.
Carl.
Toodles.
This time I forgot to say it. Oh. Bye-bye.